Not since a bearded Cap emerged from the shadows in Infinity War has my man crush levels reached these heights. Glen Powell deserves to be an absolute king megastar after his turn in Hitman.
We'll see.
Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood.
Directed by Richard Linklater of Slacker and Boyhood fame, Hitman tells the story of Gary. Gary is a psychology professor in college who moonlights as kind of tech support for the local police department. Gary's life's pretty basic and extraordinary. He lives alone. He is divorced. Is he divorced? Anyway, he lives alone. He's got a couple of cats, and that's pretty much his life. One day, while moonlighting for the police doing his, tech support thing, the regular undercover cop isn't available to be the undercover cop. So the other cops in the van suggest, somewhat unbelievably, that the tech support guy, the non-professional cop, Gary, played by Glen Powell, they suggest he goes in and takes the place of the hitman, plays the role of the hitman. He does a good job at it. He does such a good job at it that they get the arrest. He does it again and again, and the arrests and the convictions start lining up. Enter Adria Arjona as Madison. She is looking to hire the hitman. Her story, her vulnerability, and let's face it, her attractiveness throws a bit of a spanner in the works for the team, for Gary, well, for Ron, the hitman, because he finds himself sabotaging the bust and making it so that she can't be arrested because, well, he fancies her. Good news is, she fancies him too. Bad news is, she doesn't fancy the real life Gary, she fancies Ron the hitman, who doesn't exist. Things go from meet cute to worse because Madison is falling in love with Ron doesn't exist. Gary is falling in love with Madison, but Gary exists, Ron doesn't, and that sets the plot off in motion. Even though this is a Netflix release, it's on Netflix just now, that's where I watched it. It did get a limited release in the cinema for a couple of weekends. I just didn't get a chance to see it, but it is nice to see Netflix movies getting a somewhat limited cinema release just to give people the option to go and see it should they choose. So right off the bat, Glen Powell is phenomenal in this movie. The way he goes from Gary, the college professor, to Ron, the hitman, is nothing short of a magic trick. Sure, costume, hair, makeup, all those things play a part. Like when he's playing Gary, the unassuming college professor, like his shirt is like, 2 sizes too big. He's got like a, nerdy type side shed. He's wearing glasses. He's putting on like what seems like a bit of a high-pitched, more nerdy type voice. And then when he's Ron, the cool, suave hitman, he's got like a fitted shirt. He's not wearing glasses. He puts contacts in. He's got like a more kind of suave haircut and definitely a more suave voice. So all of those things help sell the transformation from Gary to Ron and Ron to Gary. But there is a couple of scenes where he does that transformation like in the same shot, in front of your eyes, in the same costume, and it's honestly like it's nothing short of a magic trick. It's not relying on the costume, it's not relying on the hair and the makeup, it's just him as an actor going from Gary the college professor to Ron the hitman, back to Gary the college professor. Honestly, he's bloody brilliant. Rounding out the supporting cast, we've got Donna from Parks and Rec and Dwight from The Walking Dead as two of the cops that are on the team, but equally as good as Glen Powell is. I don't think his performance would reach the heights that it does if he didn't have the perfect dance partner to play off of in Adria Arjona. I don't know how you say the name. She's every bit as good as Glen Powell is. She walks a really delicate fine line between sultry, sexy femme fatale and like simple girl next door who needs help. It's a very understated performance, and it does get outshone by Glen Powell, and rightly so. This is his movie, he walks away with it, but she is very, very good in it as well. On that note, I think a lot of the praise for this movie is going to go to Glen Powell, and deservedly so. But I think a fair amount of the praise should go to director Richard Linklater as well. He's known for his laid-back style, but it's not that he's not doing things as a director. He kind of knows when to just let the camera be still and let the actors perform and do their thing and let their natural charm and charisma just shine through. So it's not a flashy directory type movie, but it's not like that just happens by accident. He's put the pieces and the characters and the actors in a space and an environment where they can do that and where they can deliver these like stellar performances. So I think a fair amount of credit needs to go to Richard Linklater as well. And both Richard Linklater and Glen Powell actually share writing credits on this as well. So it kind of feels like this might be a bit of a passion project and a labour of love for both these guys. It's well paced also. It clocks in at, I think, just under 2 hours. I think IMDb's got it as 1 hour 55. It doesn't feel too long. There's a definite beginning, middle and end that makes sense. None of them feel too short or too long in terms of the 3-act structure. Tone-wise, it's kept consistent and believable. Again, credit to the director for that. The script and the dialogue, as mentioned, co-written by both director and star, is very believable and very natural. The banter between everyone, but especially the two leads between Glen Powell and, let's try one more time, Adri Arjona, is brilliant. Their chemistry just oozes off the screen. It's kind of Out of Sight meets Gross Point Blank in terms of its effortless coolness and suave and sexiness, but also the kind of a comedy about a hitman, even though he's not actually a hitman. So I'm going to give Hitman 8 out of 10. It's bloody brilliant. I actually think so far, I mean it's only June, but I'm pretty sure this is my movie of the year so far. Glen Powell is primed to be an absolute megastar. We had Top Gun Maverick a few years ago, but he was great in that, but he was sixth on the call sheet for that probably. There was that Sydney Sweeney rom-com earlier on this year, Anyone But You, I think it was called. I didn't actually see it, but I heard good things. But that very much was marketed as the Sydney Sweeney movie with Glen Powell. As far as I know, this is his first lead role. At least it's the first lead I've seen him in. And he took the ball and he ran. And touchdown, slam dunk, insert sports metaphor here. I'm not a sports guy, so I don't know. He did really well. And with Twisters coming out later on this year, if that hits the mark, I can see Glen Powell very much being the next big thing, the next Tom Cruise, the next, whoever you want to say. Yeah, he's brilliant in this. It's a solid 8 out of 10. Check it out. It's on Netflix right now. Hitman by Richard Linklater, starring Glen Powell. Bloody brilliant. It's not in the cinema anymore, I don't think, but that's fine. You can watch it on Netflix. Something that is still in the cinema though is Bad Boys Ride or Die, and you can check out my review for that here.